I'm not proud of how long it took me to admit something was wrong. But I guess that's how slow betrayals work, like a slow leak under your house. You don't notice until the floor warps. It was a Tuesday, early October. Cold rain tapping on the windows, making everything feel quieter than it really was. I got up around 6, made coffee, and stepped on a damp towel in the hallway. It was hers, purple, smells like coconut, and she always hangs it on the hook. But this time, it was crumpled on the floor. Rebecca said she was swimming more now to clear her head. I didn't question it then. I just picked up the towel and tossed it in the laundry. That's how I was back then. Clean up the mess. Keep moving. Don't overthink. But that morning, I just stood there for a while, staring at the washing machine like it owed me an explanation. We live in a 2-story colonial in Dublin, Ohio. It's one of those neighborhoods where everyone has a flag out front and puts out 10 bags of leaves on trash day. I've been in IT for 20 years, working remote since the pandemic. I liked routine. I liked Rebecca. She was warm and funny, knew how to make guests feel comfortable. People liked her. So did I. We'd been trying for a baby for about a year. Or more honestly, she had been trying. I was okay either way, but she kept track of her cycle like a detective. Ovulation apps, vitamins, herbal tea, even acupuncture once. I thought it was sweet, passionate. Looking back, it just feels off. Anyway, that towel. It sounds stupid, but something about it stuck with me. Not just that it was wet, but when I picked it up, I noticed something else. Her swimsuit wasn't in the usual laundry bin. Neither were her flip-flops. She always kicked them off by the back door. That day, nothing. I started noticing other things. New shampoo. Receipts for lunch spots across town, places I'd never been with her. And one afternoon, while fixing our internet router, I saw a second phone charger tucked behind the dresser. We only had 2 phones. Still, I didn't want to jump to conclusions. Maybe she was just tired. Maybe work was stressful. Maybe I was being paranoid. But then one night, I heard her giggling in the garage. Not just a laugh, it was that breathy, flirtatious sound. I peeked through the blinds. No one was there. She was alone, phone to her ear, leaning on the hood of her car like a teenager. She didn't see me watching. And that's when something turned cold in my gut. She started going to yoga on Saturday mornings. I put that in quotes because that's how it felt in my head. Like the word itself didn't fit anymore. She'd grab her mat, put on leggings she never used to wear, spray perfume, yes, perfume, and leave before I was even out of my robe. At first, I thought maybe she was just trying to feel good about herself. Maybe she needed space. I didn't want to be that husband who reads too much into everything. But she came home without a drop of sweat. No mat, no shornis. Just glowing, like someone who got good news and couldn't wait to not tell you. I remember one Saturday in particular. She said she was heading out for class, and I offered to come with. Could use the stretch, I joked. Her whole body stiffened. She laughed too hard. Said it was a women's-only class. Said it'd be awkward. Said next time. There was no next time. Instead, I started writing things down. Times. Excuses. Places she mentioned. I didn't show her what I was doing. Didn't confront her. I was still hoping I was wrong. That maybe I was just bored and spiraling. But the more I noticed, the less peace I had. Her texts were suddenly all emojis and short replies. Be home late, or gym, or running errands. She never used to text like that. And her passwords changed. Even her laptop, the one I bought her 2 years ago, now had a login screen. That was my tipping point. I work in IT. I don't brag about it, but I know how things work. How to recover deleted data. How to track devices. How to clone a phone if I really want to. I told myself I wouldn't go that far. I told myself I respected her privacy. But by the 3rd Saturday, she came home smelling like a hotel hallway. I was done respecting anything. I waited until she left. Then I went into the garage and pulled out an old camera I used to mount for security in our backyard. I placed it behind a vent on the porch, facing the driveway. I added another in the hallway by the back door. Nothing obvious. Just enough to catch the truth if it ever showed up. And it did. The first week, nothing. She really went to the gym. Or, at least pretended well enough. The second week, she changed clothes in her car, put on a different jacket, and drove off. I followed her location using an old tracking app one still had access to. She wasn't going to yoga. She was going to the community pool, where Coach Ryan worked. Tall, tanned, perfect teeth. Too many smiles. I met him once. Too friendly. Too comfortable. I thought it was harmless. That was before I knew he was the one getting her sore. The camera didn't lie. It caught her coming home one afternoon, not in her workout clothes, but in a black dress I hadn't seen in months. Hair curled, makeup perfect. She walked inside like she was floating. Then 20 minutes later, she came back out with a duffel bag and her phone tucked under her arm. She texted someone. Waited. A white car pulled up. Same car from the pool parking lot. She got in without hesitation. I followed the car from the feed, then picked up my keys. I didn't even think. Just drove. Columbus traffic was light that day. The rain had let up. I stayed 2 cars behind, keeping my distance. They took I-270, then veered off on East Broad. I knew the area. Office parks, gas stations, chain hotels with cracked pavement and faded signs. The kind of places people go to not be seen. They pulled into a place called the Red Maple Inn. I watched from a nearby parking lot. She got out first, pulling her coat tight, laughing about something. He followed her inside. No hesitation. Like they'd done it before. Like it was their routine. I sat there for over an hour. No movement. Just the motel sign blinking vacancy. Over and over like a sick joke. I could feel my pulse in my throat. My hands didn't shake. They just stopped moving altogether. That kind of stillness you only get right before something in you breaks. I didn't confront her that night. Didn't say a word. I waited until she got home, smiled like I always did, and asked if yoga was good. She said it was intense. Told me she was sore. I nodded. Said I'd make us tea. She didn't notice the camera in the hallway. Didn't know I had the motel's receipt. Didn't know I took a photo of her stepping out of that car. People think anger comes with yelling, throwing things, crying. But for me, it didn't. It came like quiet fog. Cold. Slow. It wrapped around everything I used to trust and made it unfamiliar. I kept telling myself I'd wait until I was sure. But I was already sure. I just wasn't ready to let go yet. You ever look at someone and suddenly realize they've been lying to your face for years? That happened with her parents. I always got along with them. Her mom baked those little lemon bars every time we visited. Her dad loved to talk about yard work and college football. Harmless people. Midwest nice. They called me son, even before the wedding. But after the affair started, I noticed something. The tone. The looks they exchanged when I said Rebecca was at the gym. The way her mom changed the subject fast, like she couldn't stand hearing it. Then her dad joked once at brunch, well, if that baby's got Ryan's swim speed, we'll put him in the Olympics. Everyone laughed. Except me. He said it casually, like it was nothing. But it felt like someone drove a nail through the middle of my chest. I looked at him. He didn't even blink. Just sipped his coffee and asked if I wanted more toast. I knew then. Not only did they know, they were protecting her. No guilt. No hesitation. Just smooth smiles and warm casseroles, like I was the fool for not seeing it sooner. That night, I went back through every bank statement I had access to. I wasn't even sure what I was looking for, maybe proof of gifts, money she didn't earn, anything odd. I found Venmo transfers from her mother to a name I didn't recognize. RL, short for Ryan Lambert. Swim coach. $400 here, $250 there. Random notes like wellness and training. I took screenshots of everything. Then I opened a new folder on my desktop. Divorce evidence. Clean. Cold. No emotions. Just facts. I didn't tell her what I knew. Not yet. I wanted it all to line up first. I wanted the knife to land exactly where it would hurt the most. Not for revenge. I wasn't that kind of man. But because I needed her to understand. This wasn't a mistake. It was a campaign. I started visiting a lawyer in secret. Slid through the side entrance. Paid in cash sometimes. Told them everything. Showed them the video. The texts. The motel receipts. Her parents' transfers. Paternity fraud, the lawyer said. You have a case. I didn't feel relieved. I felt nothing. Just watched her that night from across the dinner table. She was talking about buying baby clothes. I nodded, smiled, made a note in my head. She's still lying. She had no idea Thanksgiving would be the last time anyone in that house saw me again. The pregnancy was real. I saw the ultrasound photo stuck on the fridge one morning like some proud trophy. She hadn't even told me she'd gone to the doctor. Just pinned it there between a grocery list and a magnet that said, "Bless this mess." It felt like a punch to the ribs. Not because I didn't want a kid, but because I already knew. I knew it wasn't mine. The dates didn't add up. We'd barely touched each other the month she got pregnant. She said she was tired. Said her back hurt. I didn't push. I thought maybe we were just drifting like married people do sometimes. But now I saw the truth clear as day. I had the footage. I had the receipts. I just needed the one thing that would seal it all shut. So, I bought a paternity test. There's a brand you can do quietly. Discreet. You swab a toothbrush or a bit of hair and send it in. I used one of the brushes she left in the guest bathroom. Not mine. Definitely not mine. I mailed it in and waited 2 weeks. Longest 2 weeks of my life. In that time, I watched her rub her belly like a prayer. She started reading books about motherhood, said things like our little peanut, and painted the spare room pale green. Every moment, she was building a lie with glitter and soft lighting. And I just stood there, nodding, holding the ladder, pretending to believe her. The day the results came, I opened the envelope alone in my car. Parked 2 blocks from the house, engine running, radio off. My hands weren't shaking, they were stone. I unfolded the paper like it might bite me. Probability of paternity, 0%. That number didn't surprise me. What surprised me was how quiet the world became in that moment. Like everything just stopped. Birds, wind, my breath. It all paused. I wasn't angry. I wasn't sad. I just sat there with the truth like it was a dead thing on my lap. Cold. Final. I went home. She was baking something, banana bread, maybe. She smiled, said, "You look tired." I said, "Long day." Then I kissed her on the cheek and told her it smelled good. She had no idea I'd just buried the last of whatever love I had left for her. I didn't make a scene. I didn't scream, didn't throw her stuff in the yard. That's not how I'm wired. Maybe I should have. Maybe then she would have known something was coming. But I wanted it silent, precise, surgical. After I got the paternity results, I scheduled a second meeting with the lawyer. The receptionist gave me that half-sympathetic, half-professional nod. She'd seen men like me before. Quiet, pale, focused. We went over everything. The timeline, the surveillance footage, the text messages, the Venmo payments from her mother to Ryan, the pregnancy timeline, the test result. He told me what I already knew. This wasn't just adultery. It was deception with financial consequences. Attempted paternity fraud. A potential civil suit against her parents for aiding the lie. We printed subpoenas, divorce papers, civil filings, restraining order just in case. Everything went into a manila folder labeled Thanksgiving. That was my idea. I'd already decided that was the day. Everyone would be there. Her family, a few close friends. I was hosting like always, carving the turkey, pouring wine, smiling. Meanwhile, I'd serve them something they wouldn't forget. I practiced the moment in my head, where I'd stand, what I'd say, when to press play on the video, the camera angle. I'd even made copies of everything, in case someone tried to deny it. I kept one USB in my sock drawer, one in my car, and one in a safety deposit box. It wasn't just about revenge. It was about clarity, about not letting them pretend I was blind anymore, about ripping the mask off in front of the whole damn table and saying, "Here, this is who you really are." I didn't sleep much that week. I was too calm, too still. It's strange. When the storm is inside you, the world outside feels fake. Like you're walking through a set, a TV family, a script you didn't write. The night before Thanksgiving, she kissed me and said she was thankful for our little miracle. I said, "Me too." Then I smiled, turned off the kitchen light, and thought, tomorrow, the lies end. Thanksgiving morning was quiet. Too quiet, honestly. Like the house itself was holding its breath. I woke up early and started cooking. That was our tradition. I handled the turkey and the stuffing, she did the potatoes and dessert. She put on music, danced a little in her slippers, said it smelled amazing, kissed me on the neck, said, "I love you." I told her, "You too." That part still sits heavy on my chest. Because even though I knew everything, the cheating, the lie, the baby that wasn't mine, I still wanted to believe her in that moment. I wanted to step into the role she'd written for me. Loyal husband, doting father-to-be, happy host. I wanted the peace. But I couldn't fake it anymore. Not after everything. Guests started arriving around 2. Her parents came first, of course. Her mom brought a pecan pie and acted like she hadn't wired hush money to a swim coach. Her dad wore a sweater with a turkey on it and kept slapping my back like we were old buddies. I offered them wine, smiled, played along. Then came her sister and brother-in-law, a couple co-workers, and our next-door neighbor, Denise, who always brought the worst green bean casserole, but meant well. Everyone settled in. The house was warm, bright. Fireplace going. Wine flowing. On the outside, it looked perfect. But I had a USB stick taped to the underside of the dining table and printed subpoenas in my coat pocket. It's funny. I'd spent weeks preparing, but that day, I didn't feel like a man about to ruin a holiday. I felt like a man finally coming up for air. Like I'd been underwater for months, pretending I could breathe. And now I was seconds from breaking the surface. I watched Rebecca laugh with her sister. She rubbed her belly when people asked about the baby, said things like, "He kicks when I hear Adele," and "We just started a registry." She was glowing, lying beautifully, completely at ease in the story she'd built. I let her have it for a while. Let them all laugh. Eat. Toast. Then I stood up, lifted my glass, said I had something important to share. I didn't yell. I didn't raise my voice. I just stood there, holding a glass of red wine, and said, "Before we eat dessert, there's something I need to show you." Nobody blinked. Not at first. They thought I was going to propose a toast, maybe show an ultrasound video. Something sweet. I reached under the table and peeled off the USB. Walked over to the TV. Plugged it in. It took 10 seconds to load. 10 seconds of silence thick enough to choke on. Then it played the grainy footage from my porch camera. Rebecca stepping into Ryan's car. Her laugh. The motel sign. Their shadows entering the room. I didn't look at the screen. I watched their faces. Her mom dropped her fork. Her dad froze with a bite of turkey halfway to his mouth. Rebecca's face went pale, like the color drained straight into her shoes. I let the video run for a minute, then paused it. Pulled out the folder from my coat and dropped it on the table. Hard. "This," I said, "is the paternity test. 0%. The baby isn't mine." No one said a word. "This," I gestured to the second envelope, "is a subpoena for Rebecca. And for both of you." I looked at her parents. For aiding in deception and financial fraud. Her mom whispered something. I didn't care what it was. I turned to the rest of the table, the neighbors, co-workers, her sister. No one met my eyes. I wasn't angry at them. They were just props in the scene. I cleared my throat. "I've filed for divorce. The house is in my name. You have 7 days to leave." Rebecca finally opened her mouth. I think she said my name, maybe tried to cry. I didn't wait to hear it. I just said, "Happy Thanksgiving." Then I picked up my coat, walked out the front door, and drove away. No one followed me. No one called. I didn't even look back at the house. I left the turkey in the oven. Figured they'd still be hungry after the truth. I didn't tell anyone where I went. I drove for hours that night. Stopped at a gas station outside Dayton, bought a burner phone, and left my real one in the trash. Deleted every social account. Canceled my cards. Cut off everything that connected me to who I was in that house. People think revenge is dramatic. Like there's music swelling, some final punchline. But it wasn't like that. It felt quiet. Clean. Like closing a door you never want to open again. I rented a small apartment in a town no one would think to look. Got a job doing freelance IT work. Cash only. Simple stuff, small business networks, cybersecurity for people who didn't understand what a firewall was. It paid enough. I didn't need much. The quiet felt strange at first. Too empty. I'd catch myself reaching for the phone to text her something, a joke, a reminder. Nothing important. Then I'd remember. She was never real. Not the version I loved. That was a character she played. And I was just dumb enough to fall for it. I thought maybe her parents would try to reach out. They didn't. Neither did her sister. Maybe they were too ashamed. Or maybe they still thought I was the villain for embarrassing her. That's the funny part. I wasn't the one who broke anything. I just turned on the lights. I heard from the lawyer 2 weeks later. She'd been served. Her reaction? Silence. No calls. No emails. Not even a single why. Part of me wanted her to fight, to scream, to say it wasn't true. But I think she knew. Deep down, I think she knew the second the video started playing it was over. There was no saving face after that. Some nights, I wonder what they told people. Did she spin a story about abuse? Say I abandoned her? Blame stress? Tell everyone I just snapped? People always want a version they can digest. Let them. I have no interest in clearing my name. The people who mattered saw what they saw. And the ones who still pretended didn't happen? They were never really on my side to begin with. It's strange what you miss. Not the person, the routines. The clink of 2 coffee mugs in the morning. The way her hair used to smell when she'd fall asleep on the couch. The silence after a dumb inside joke. I don't miss her. I miss the illusion. There's a difference. The apartment's small. 1 bedroom, no view. But it's mine. No one lies here. No one smiles with secrets in their teeth. I bought a second-hand couch. A used microwave. Didn't even hang up curtains for the first 2 months. I liked the exposure. It felt honest. There were nights I thought about going back. Not to her, to the life. The fake calm. The story we were pretending to live. But then I'd pull out the test results, or the video, or even just remember the sound of her laugh in Ryan's car, and it'd pass. That version of me, the one who would have swallowed it and moved on, he's gone. Buried. I started running again. Nothing serious. Just around the block. Sometimes with music. Sometimes just to hear my breath. It reminded me I was alive. That I could still move forward, even if it didn't feel like it. I didn't date. Didn't try. Couldn't imagine letting someone that close again. Trust felt like some ancient language I forgot how to speak. But I got good at being alone. I'd go whole weekends without speaking to anyone. Sit on my balcony with a cup of coffee and just watch the streetlights change. Some people would call that sad. I call it peace. No one expects anything from me anymore. No performances. No scripts. No pretending to be okay while someone else slowly rewrites your reality behind your back. I still think about that Thanksgiving. Not the reveal, but what came after. How quiet the house must have been once I left. The turkey cooling in the oven. The video paused on screen. Her parents sitting there, realizing the lie cost them their daughter's reputation. Their comfort. Their story. And me? I disappeared without a trace. Sometimes silence is the loudest ending you can give someone. It's been over a year. No one's found me. No surprise there, I made sure of it. No social media, no shared friends, no breadcrumbs. The old life is a sealed box. And I've got no interest in opening it. The lawyer finalized the divorce. Quietly. Efficiently. I didn't show up for anything except to sign papers. She didn't contest a single thing. Didn't ask for alimony. Didn't try to get the house. I think she knew better. I kept waiting for the message. The email. The handwritten letter. Some dramatic apology filled with regret and twisted versions of the truth. Something to say, I'm sorry. I was wrong. Please come back. It never came. And honestly, I'm glad. Because if it had, some small part of me, the old me, might have wanted to believe it. That part of me is dead now. There's no rebuilding what we had because what we had wasn't real. It was comfortable, predictable, but it was never safe. Not with someone who could lie so easily. Who could smile while planning an escape route behind your back. Sometimes people ask me, not about her, no one knows the full story, but just in general, don't you want to fall in love again? And I tell them the truth. I don't know. Love, the way I knew it, was tied to trust. And that rope snapped in a way that can't be mended. Maybe I'll trust again someday. Maybe I won't. But I'm not rushing it. I like the quiet too much. Some nights, I lie awake and remember how it felt. Not the betrayal, not the humiliation, but the moment I walked out that door with nothing but my coat and my truth. It didn't feel like loss. It felt like freedom.